Mole calculations are one of the easiest questions to gain full marks if you know the right method. In this video, we will work through AQA GCSE Chemistry past paper questions step by step, so you know exactly what the examiner is looking for. I will also share proven exam tips from my examiner experience to help you boost your grade fast. Let's dive in. The first question we are going to solve is sodium sulfate is used in the paper making industry. One method of making sodium sulfate is shown below. So they have given you the equation. Calculate the percentage atom economy for the method of producing sodium sulfate. Keep that in mind. They have asked only for sodium sulfate. Other thing to keep in mind, give your answer to three significant figures. I will show you how to do that at the end. They have also given you relative atomic masses for each of the elements that we need to calculate, which is a good news because then we don't have to look through the periodic table. Altogether, there are 4 marks. That means you need to show your work in 4 steps. Let's go step by step. Here I've kept the equation on the top so that we can look at it during calculation. The relative atomic masses or RAM are given there. So the equation for percentage atom economy is relative formula mass of the desired product over sum of the relative formula masses of the reactants times 100 because you are calculating percentage. Now, we have talked about this type of problems in some of my videos earlier. So if you need to go back to those calculations, it is always useful. Otherwise, if you have done it, let's go through it. Now, this is the mark scheme. So let's go through it step by step. Step 1, we are calculating the relative formula mass of sodium sulfate. How to do that? So you take each of the relative atomic mass for each of the elements of sodium sulfate and calculate. So important thing is to consider each of the atoms in sodium sulfate, which means there are 2 Na or sodium in sodium sulfate, 1 sulfur and 4 oxygen atoms. So what we have to do here is that 23, the RAM, relative atomic mass of sodium, times 2 plus 32 RAM for sulfur times 1 because there is 1 sulfur atom in sodium sulfate plus 16 times 4 because there are 4 oxygen atoms. If you add all of those up, that is what is relative formula mass of sodium sulfate, altogether 142. Step 2, we are going to calculate the sum of the relative formula masses of the reactants. So here, if you look into the chemical equation on the top, we have got 2 NaHCO3, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and MgSO4, magnesium sulfate. So what we are going to do is that add each of the elements up, and important thing to keep in mind here is that there are 2 NaHCO3. Do not forget to multiply by 2. Okay, so first thing we are finding out RFM, relative formula mass of NaHCO3. So that means 1 sodium, 1 hydrogen, 1 carbon and 3 oxygen atoms in there. So 23 plus 1 plus 12 plus 16 times 3 because of 3 oxygen atoms. You add all of those up and times 2 because there is 2 in front of NaHCO3. Plus adding up the RFM of magnesium sulfate, which means there is 1 magnesium, 1 sulfur, 4 oxygen atoms. So 24 RAM, relative atomic mass of magnesium, plus 32 for sulfur, plus 16 for oxygen times 4, because there are 4 oxygens there. You add all of those up, equals to 288. Okay, important thing again to remember, because there is 2 in front of NaHCO3, you multiply the RFM of NaHCO3 by 2. Okay, if you have done that, well done. Now, step 3, we are going to calculate the percentage atom economy. So 142 you got in step 1, divided by 288 you got in step 2, times 100. You got the final answer is 49.3. Now, one thing we have to keep in mind is that they have said give your answer as 3 significant figures. Now, in your calculator, if you have got longer numbers, that means 49.3 and so on. So what you need to do, you need to keep the 3 meaningful digits in the number, starting from the first non-zero digit. What does it mean? You stick to 3 digits, 49.3. Okay. So this is what is the 4th mark for. If you forgot to do this step, you lose 1 mark. So easy 1 mark, just sticking to the 3 digits. In my previous videos of atom economy, we have worked through a few examples. So if you need to go through it, and if you think this is working well for you, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next past paper question walking through. Okay, the second question we are going to solve has 3 parts. In GCSE, you will often find the questions have 3 parts, few different parts. So the first part is 38% of a rock sample is aluminium oxide. Calculate the mass of aluminium oxide in 40 kilogram of rock sample. There are 2 marks altogether, so that means you need to show your work in 2 steps. Step 1, showing your work. Step 2, calculate the final answer. From the marks, you can figure out how many steps you have to do. Do not do more or do not do less. So in here, step 1, 38% means 38 kilogram out of 100 kilogram. If so, then how much is in 40 kilogram? That is what the question they have asked. You need to multiply the percentage, that means 38 over 100 by 40. This is mark 1. Then you get the final answer, 15 kilogram. Now here, they have not mentioned give your answer in 2 or 3 significant figures. So you have got a choice to round up your answer or keep the original answer, what you got. This is why you need to read the question very carefully to see what they have really asked in the question to get the full marks. Second part of the question is, the formula of aluminium oxide is Al2O3. Calculate the relative formula mass of aluminium oxide. They have given you the relative atomic mass for oxygen and aluminium. So this part of this question has got 2 marks, 1 mark for showing how it works. Even if you make mistake in typing into your calculator and got a wrong answer, final answer, you still get 1 mark if you show your work. So make a habit of showing your work early on so that you can avoid losing marks. What you can do, pause the video and try to do it yourself. Okay, then we'll go through it. Have you got your answer? Okay, let's go through it. So this is the mark scheme. What you need to do in step 1, showing the work. So you are calculating the relative formula mass of aluminium oxide. Remember, considering each of the atoms in aluminium oxide. That means 2 aluminium and 3 oxygen atoms are there. So you multiply 27 for aluminium RAM times 2 because of 2 atoms of aluminium in aluminium oxide, plus 16 times 3 because there are 3 oxygen atoms in aluminium oxide. So this is what is mark 1. Second mark is for the final answer, 102. If you have got that, well done. Third part of the question is 60 kilogram of aluminium oxide produces a maximum of 31.8 kilogram of aluminium. In an extraction process, only 28.4 kilogram of aluminium is produced from 60 kilogram of aluminium oxide. Calculate the percentage yield. Give your answer to 3 significant figures. Again, keeping this in mind at the end of your calculation. The equation they have given you. So you remember in our previous videos, we have worked through it. If you need to, go back to those videos. Otherwise, let's go ahead with this. So the equation is mass of the product actually made. And here they're asking for aluminium. So keep that in mind. So mass of product actually made over maximum theoretical mass of the product. So altogether there are 3 marks. Now that is why we are showing it in 3 different steps. 3 steps you need to show your work. So step 1, they have given the mass of the product actually made, so 28.4 divided by 31.8, they have given you in the question, times 100. So that is mark 1. Mark 2, you get the answer in your calculator, 89.3081 and so on. So if you leave it like that, that is mark 2. Now, if you really need to gain the 3rd mark, you need to read the question carefully what they have given you. Give your answer in 3 significant figures. That means 3 digits you have to stick to. That is 89.3. So after 3, there was 0. So that means which is less than 5. That means you can round it up to 89.3, the final answer. You have done it? Well done. So now go on to the next videos in the mole calculation playlist for exam board specific past paper questions, explanation, step by step. Use my exam tips to build your confidence and your grades, and keep understanding, keep practicing, and keep shining. Your grades will follow. All the best.